The most recent incident in January 19 stood on a different footing from earlier incidents. It showed that Brochet probably still possessed the entire HIV registry, beyond just the 31 records. He had also put the information online and provided the link to a non-government party. This new situation meant that the likelihood of the identities of affected persons being made public by Brochet had increased significantly. MOH therefore decided to make a public announcement on 28th January, even though we remain deeply concerned about the impact this would have on affected persons. We sought to quickly contact each of the affected individuals to inform them of the circumstances and also to offer them assistance prior to the announcement. We worked with the police and other relevant parties to disable access to the information as quickly as possible. Mr. Speaker, sir, at this point, let me reiterate the basis of our decisions and actions, especially on the issue of disclosure and announcements. At each juncture, May 2016, May 2018, and January 2019, MOH had to decide whether to inform the affected persons and make a public announcement. In making those decisions, MOH had a responsibility to balance the opposing considerations and exercise judgment on what would best serve the interests of the affected persons and the public. MOH made a judgment call, balancing the various considerations. It is arguable that MOH should have made a different call, but I reject any allegation that MOH sought to cover up the incident. On all three occasions, MOH's primary concern was the well-being of the persons on the HIV registry. Today, we still face the same dilemma as we did back in 2016 and 2018. We now know that Brochet retained some of the data after the police seized all the files they could find in 2016. Quite possibly, he still has more files in his possession. Should MOH now make known all that Brochet may or may not still have in his possession? Do we contact every person whose data may or may not be at risk, and in the process inflict more harm on people, even though it may ultimately turn out that Brochet, in fact, does not have the information? Again, we have to assess and make a judgment call. MOH has decided to continue to manage the situation in a way that reduces the possibility of further exposure. This is consistent with the decision taken in 2016 and again in 2018. It is based on what we believe to be the interest of the potentially affected persons.